Supervisors here in Globe, Tuesday, March 18th, 2025. It's 10 a.m. I'm going to ask our superintendent, Mr. Sandoval, if he would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by our invocation by Nick Montague.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank Thee for this day, and we're thankful for the Board of Supervisors and all that they are able to do to help our great county. And we ask Thee to give them Thy Spirit to help them discern what is best and how to lead us. And say these things in your Jesus Christ, amen.
Thank you. Okay, welcome everyone. I hope that the air is a little cleaner because we got rain and snow and all of that, and I think we're going to have warm weather coming. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start with item number 2, which is public hearing. 2A, information, discussion, action to adopt ordinance number 2025-04, Gila County Minor Land Division and Lot Line Adjustment Ordinance, which repeals the previously adopted ordinance titled Minor Land Division Ordinance of the County of Gila. Good morning, Randy.
Morning, sir, gentlemen. So, as you remember, we had a work session on this very ordinance approximately about 6 weeks ago. We have since then met with the surveyors. Scott contacted them. They're the surveyors that do about 90% of the work in Gila County, and had a meeting with them and went over the ordinance with them. They basically had 2 minor suggestions. One was that after a certain square footage or a certain dimension away from the lot line that they shouldn't have to show those buildings. We're talking like 50 feet away from a property line. They shouldn't have to show the smaller buildings inside, which I think is reasonable. What I told them I would do would be researching to see what our farthest property line is, and we would use that number. It's either 50 or 70, so they're okay with that. We also, they asked, apparently in the past, when something got recorded, they were notified. So that is something they would like to see come back so that they don't have to keep calling us to see if it's been recorded so they can let their customers know. So we're going to get with the recorder's office and see if that's something they can go back to. I don't know what their manpower is to allow that or not allow that. But we went through the whole ordinance, went through the minor land, which we talked about, and put in the ordinance, charging the $200 that we talked about here for that. We talked about charging the $650 that we talked about here instead of the $550. None of them had any big issues with that. It was me, Scott, Homer, and then the surveyors that were there, and there was no big complaints. So with that, I'd like to ask for your recommendation and answer any questions you may have.
Very good. Thank you, Randy. Supervisor Humphrey.
I don't have any questions, Randy, thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Klein.
I don't either, Randy. Thanks for reaching out to all the surveyors, and thank you, Scott, for no, I think I'm good.
Okay, then I'll close it to the discussion at hand right now and open it up to the public hearing portion. So is there anyone in Globe or on the internet or in Payson that wishes to speak to this item 2A? Okay, so then I'll close the public hearing and call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to adopt ordinance number 2025-04.
I'll second that.
Have a motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Randy.
Thank you.
All right, item 3, regular agenda items. 3A is going to be information, discussion, action to approve the distribution of secure rural schools and communities funds, forest fees of Gila County share of the federal fiscal year 2026 and Secure Rural Schools Act fund as authorized through section 24 of PL 114-104 fiscal years 2025-2026 and using the same percentage splits as last year, which are the roads are 2.15%, Schools 77.93%, and Gila County Education Service Agency 19.92%. We have Roy and Nick here today.
Yeah,
Good to see you.
good to see you. Thank you for having us.
Hey, thank you, Chairman Christensen, Board Member Humphreys, and Klein. This is the percentages we would like to distribute should we receive the funding.
It's pretty self-explanatory. It hasn't changed one bit. The only thing I would add to it is that, and you know, this comes from the payment in lieu of taxes, the PILT money, and we're concerned that with the Doge and everything, that could go away, and that would be devastating to schools. Because it turns out that it's money that's undesignated that schools can use for funding. They can fund positions with it. They can fund emergencies. If a bus goes down, they have a lot of latitude, which you don't have a lot of latitude with school budgets. But this PILT money, it's actually called Assistance to Rural Schools, SRS. But just keep in mind, please, anytime you speak with Eli Crane or a congressman, mention the PILT money and how important it is to counties and to the schools. It's just a big deal. And I would just add this one thing, and then I'll be out of your hair. Think about the reservation where they get impact aid. So the PILT money for us is sort of like the impact money is for the reservation, right? In lieu of taxes, they get money. The difference is, for us, we get $1.2 million, right? For a reservation school, it might be 10 or 15 million bucks a year, right? So in terms of us getting a deal, we don't get a great deal, but we do get a deal compared to other places that don't get taxes, right? They get money in lieu of taxes. That makes sense. Mm-hmm. So just always emphasize that. I think it's important. I'd appreciate it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Thank you,
Questions?
Supervisor Humphrey.
I have no questions. This has been before us, and like you said, it hasn't changed, so I'm good.
Okay, thank you, Supervisor Klein.
So Roy, you're absolutely right. And this, when I was in DC, this was a huge discussion, as you can quite imagine.
Oh, yeah.
And I know that they were going to make another run at it. I haven't heard recently where it's at. But because of the timing, because of where we are right now, there wasn't a lot of high hopes. But they hadn't given up. And so it was discussed in those offices, and I feel like for the most part, those folks understand the importance of this money for these small communities and counties and whatnot. Like just for instance, the money that you get out of this helps fund that adult education program.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Klein, yes, if this money didn't go through, I'm not sure what we would do, would we? It'd be down to nothing. It'd be down to nothing. And to just add to piggyback on what we're saying, I think most rural in the West, most rural Congress people, they understand it. They get it. But I'm not sure people on either side of, in urban areas or on either side of the United States, congressmen from those areas really understand, because they're huge tax generators, and they don't understand that hey, we teeter on the edge in rural areas. So thank you for that.
Yeah, it seems like most of the people on the west of the Mississippi understand this issue a lot more than the ones on the east.
Okay, yeah.
And so I'm real hopeful that they can pull it together and at the 11th hour and maybe get something done. But Roy, I don't know. And and like from a county standpoint, you're right. I don't know what there is to help or do, or in that, and if we lose that money.
Yeah, well, Mr. Chair, Mr. Klein, I think we've done all that we could. I know I'm on the ACO board. I know that we pushed from that standpoint. I know that you pushed, you and I have communicated on that, and I know that other rural board supervisors have, and I'm pretty sure the your organization has as well. So it is about as much as we can do, I think.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you, Roy.
Thank you. Yeah, we are in a little bit of uncertainty at the moment with the state, the federal government, and everything. So
Yeah.
let's hope we don't lose vital funding that we need to run our programs. So if that's all there is, then I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to approve the distribution of secure rural schools and communities funds as presented.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you so much.
Item 3B is information, discussion, action to ratify the Board of Supervisors' approval for the Sheriff's Office electronic submittal of fiscal year 2026 drug, gang, and violent crime control grant application to the Arizona Criminal Justice Commission in the amount of $873,264.96 to renew grant funding that will be used for the salaries and benefits of the Sheriff's Office Drug, Gang, and Violent Crimes Task Force. And we have fair representation of our Sheriff's Department today. It looks like we have Sarah, Sheriff Shepard, and Under Sheriff Newman. Good morning.
Good morning. I appreciate the opportunity to present this to you guys this morning. We're seeking your approval for what is an annual application through the ACJC, the Arizona Criminal Justice Commission, for the continued operation of our Gila County Narcotics Gang and Drug Task Force that we've been running for quite a few years. This year, we're asking for $873,264 and some change, but typically we get less than a third of that, which covers our cost of having people fill a couple of slots that we have and some training and such. So that's pretty much what we're asking for. We'll see what we get, but we're just looking for your approval for submitting the application.
Okay, thank you, Under Sheriff. Supervisor Humphrey?
Yeah, I have no questions other than I'm sorry that you only get about a third of what you asked for, but I'm sure what you're asking for is itemized so that they understand what your needs are. They're just not giving you what they think that, they're just giving you what they think they need. So I appreciate your reaching to try to help all you can.
Thank you, Supervisor Klein.
So, you guys, thanks for pushing on this. I hope you get the amount of money that you're putting in for. It's real important. I have a question as far as maybe statistics, and if you know, that's great. If not, but like when it comes to the gang part of it, are we seeing more gangs these days, or are they starting to decline? Do you guys know?
I don't have any hard for you right now, but I think that we're not seeing any less. There's even been a couple of new gangs that have sprouted up. They're very inconsequential at this time, but when folks like Get 'em, our state gang task force from around the state, whenever they start reporting what's going on out there. They're new gang names. They're very small and stuff. But to answer your question, I'm not seeing any fewer gangs. So we're pretty much running about normal.
Okay, thanks for that, Dennis. I had one more question for you, and the Violent Crimes Task Force. Last Saturday, I was at the deal out there, San Carlos, for Emily Pike. And so when it comes to the Violent Crimes Task Force, what does that task force actually do?
Well, basically, it's at this point I call it an informal task force. We've got
thank you for that, Dennis. One of my biggest concerns is every day when you hear the news and from whatever angle that is, whether it's local news, Facebook, whatever it is, we continue to see missing persons, and it doesn't seem to be getting better. It just seems to me like it's getting worse. So that's why I say when it comes to this money, I hope you guys get the funds you need and can put it into these programs that we can hopefully start seeing a difference in, I guess. So thank you for all you guys do. And I appreciate that, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Supervisor. And thank you all for coming today, and I thank you all for what you do. And so with that, then I will call for a motion on item 3B.
Mr. Chair, I move to ratify the Board of Supervisors' approval for the Sheriff's Office electronic submittal for the fiscal year 2026 Drug, Gang, and Violent Crimes Control Grant application to the Arizona Criminal Justice Commission as presented.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, everyone. All right, item 3C, information, discussion, action to certify the collection amounts. For the Superior Court, $772,852.95. Payson Regional Justice Court, $558,443.47. And Globe Regional Justice Court, $624,098.37 for the fiscal year 2023-2024. Good morning, Maren.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Supervisor Humphrey, Supervisor Klein. Annually, the Board of Supervisors is called upon to certify these amounts that the treasurer deposits for the Superior Court, Payson Regional Justice Court, and Globe Regional Justice Court. This year's certification are the amounts that Mr. Chair just read.
Thank you, Maren. Supervisor Humphrey.
I have no questions other than I guess you got it down to the pennies, so I guess we're good.
We would expect no less. Supervisor Klein.
Maren, thank you. This kind of goes in with our last discussion. It's maybe those fees and all that need to be about triple to maybe crime would start slowing down too, huh?
I can't have an opinion on that.
Thank you, Maren, for all you do.
All right. Thank you, Maren. And thanks for that presentation. I'll call for motion 3C.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to certify the collection amounts for the Superior Court, Payson Regional Justice Court, and Globe Regional Justice Court for FY 23 to 24 as presented.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Great. First, we have a motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, Maren.
Thank you.
All right. 3D is information, discussion, action to approve economic development agreement number 02062025 with Pinal Mountain Foundation for higher education in the amount of $1,000 to assist in awarding scholarships to deserving students in Gila County, which the board has determined to be for the benefit of the public. Supervisor Humphrey.
Yeah, and I believe in education. I believe in helping with education, and so I think this is a good cause, and so that's why it's brought before the board.
Supervisor Klein, any?
Tim, you want to double your amount? I'll chip in with you.
I don't believe that they would not appreciate that. I think they would appreciate that very much.
Maybe get you a little further along.
Well, yeah, scholarships are important, especially to those who are deserving of them.
I totally agree. I'll match your $1,000.
Very good.
I appreciate it, and staff, sorry about the paperwork involved. But sometimes we can't talk until we get here. And so if our attorney has no problem with it, I'm good with it.
Thank you.
Mr. Albo.
Mr. Chairman, so long as the board corrects the amount in the motion and then the vote for the motion, then doubling it to $2,000 would be appropriate.
Okay.
Okay. Melissa, do we have enough money to triple it? Okay. While we're doing paperwork, let's do that. So I will call for a motion on item 3D for the amount of $3,000 as part of a correction in the motion.
So are you asking for a motion?
I am. Thought I did.
Okay, I move to approve economic development agreement, number 02062025 with Pinal Mountain Foundation for Higher Education in the amount of $3,000, which the board has determined to be for the benefit of the public.
And Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Great, we have a motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Very good. All right.
Thank you, gentlemen.
You're very welcome, and we might set a record today. Let's go on with the consent agenda item for A through E. Supervisor Humphrey, do you wish to take any or all of any amount of the consent agenda items and discuss them separately?
I do not.
Okay, same question, Supervisor Klein.
Neither do I.
Then I'll call for a motion to approve consent agenda items for A through E.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, call to the public. I don't believe we have anyone, but I will ask. Payson, the internet, and here in Globe. Nope. Okay, thank you. We'll move on to item 6, which is our presentations and summaries. And I'll call on Mr. Menlove.
Mr. Chairman, thank you for the opportunity. A couple things I wanted to note. That Freeport-McMoran has applied for through the Arizona Department of Economics, not Economic Security, yeah, it is Economic Security, or ADEQ, Environmental Equality, to re-permit their facility they have for cleaning the groundwater that they are discharging that goes into Roosevelt Lake. So just want to make sure you're aware of that. And Freeport does a great job of ensuring that all the water that's coming through this area is clean and pure and going down into the valley for their water resources. But they have applied for that and it is in process. There was a final environmental impact statement from the Department of Air Force about a year ago or so. We had a discussion in the board meeting about how they're doing an environmental impact study, the Air Force, of doing low-level runs. I haven't looked at the study to see what it says, but just that they are in a final environmental impact statement comment period that is open for about another few weeks. So I'll take a look at that, and if we need to have any comments, I'll bring that to your attention. For a couple of things that we've got going on for environmental. Did last week have our county managers and administrators meeting at the County Supervisors Association in Phoenix. Tomorrow I'm going to go to the Valley for eco meetings and then the CSA Executive Board meeting on Thursday, small counties tomorrow night. So I'll be in the Valley tomorrow and Thursday. And that'll conclude my information today, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you so much. Supervisor Humphrey.
Yeah, I attended a NRCD, National Resource Conservation District meeting, and that's a lot of things. They get a lot of things rolling with that on the weeds and the fencing and things after the fires, and so they're a good thing to have working with us in the county. Supervisor Klein can comment on it more probably. And then I attended a monthly meeting with County Manager Menlove and Deputy County Manager Mr. O'Driscoll and the department heads on projects that we have going in District 2 and projects that I want to get going in District 2. So it's a nice meeting where everybody's sitting in the same room. And so I appreciate their time in doing that with me. So that's about all I have.
Okay, thank you, Supervisor Klein.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, like I said earlier, Saturday evening I was in San Carlos at the honoring Emily Pike, and that kind of an eye opener. It's kind of a real sad state we're in today when you see things like this happen. And we kind of see it every day right now, and I don't know. To me, it seems really crazy. It really does. And when you see the missing children that are missing out there, the things that happen, like to this young lady, Emily Pike, it's hard to really understand that or fathom that people could be that mean, I guess. And I was sitting there listening to everything that night, and it's the only thing I could say is I hope they're brought to justice real quick, because I think there's a special place in hell for those people, and I think that for any of these folks that are missing. And so, like when it comes to supporting our sheriff and whoever it is, I'm all about it. I don't, I know we need funds. I know we need manpower, people, whatever it is to get this done, and it's hard to come up with all of that. But doggone, something's got to give pretty quick, because this kind of stuff needs to quit. And then last week I had a public lands meeting by teams. This week is a eco meeting Wednesday afternoon, small counties in the evening, and CSA Board of Directors meeting Thursday morning. And as Supervisor Humphrey said, we were in that NRCS meeting that day too as well, out there at Roosevelt. And NRCS is doing good. They've got a lot of projects they're trying to get wrapped up and done, but coming along pretty well with it. Friday morning here in the boardroom, we're going to be hosting the Arizona New Mexico Coalition of Counties annual meeting here, and it's going to start at 9 o'clock. Howard Hutchinson will be here, and of course I'll be here, and hopefully anybody that would like to join, you're more than welcome. It's open to the public, and it's usually good. There's a lot of information that comes out of that. Mr. Chair, that's it.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
And so just let everyone know, if you didn't know, there was a shooting in Rye on Friday. Details, there's no details. One of our deputy sheriffs had to use lethal force, apparently, and someone died that was a burglar. And there's several that apparently got away. And so that's all under investigation, and that's proceeding. So that's always kind of shocking for something to happen like that in our little county. Yesterday was on KMOG, on there once a month, and that all went very well. I was able to address several things, like clarifying sort of our position on the Mexican gray wolf and what we're doing there. And also talk about the pre-fire season meeting that's coming up next week for northern Gila County, and talk about our water. We were blessed with some snow and rain down here, and that's all really good. Not enough, but we'll take what we can. And I have a trails meeting this week too. There's a pretty significant amount of effort, volunteer effort for trails and improvement of trails, especially in the northern part of the Gila County. The Rim Country, the Pine, Strawberry Basin, all those areas, very, very vigorous trail society up there. So I'm kind of invited to listen and see if we can encourage them to improve the trails, not only for recreation, but for access into the forest, for fighting fires and things like that. It's all good. So that's really all I have.
Well, Mr. Chair, if I may, yeah, it just rattled my brain. Today I have a meeting at 2 o'clock with members from the IDA, Industrial Development Authority, and Manager Minlove. So see if we can't work with kind of getting something jump started with the IDA and work with them and try to get on the same page now that we've got some members back in that. And so appreciate Joe Heatherly and Shelby Bordell are some that I'm going to meet with today. So anyway, I'm hoping that'll be a good meeting and we can start getting things rolling with our Industrial Development Authority.
Very good. Mr. Menlove.
Sorry to circle back around, but I wanted to express appreciation to Marion Shepherd Heatherly. That we had kind of a sudden change in our clerk of the board office, and Marion, thankfully, has been so willing to come and help us out. And she wants to be retired. She wants to be able to enjoy her grandkids and do those kinds of things. And so, Marion, we appreciate you and all that you do for us at Gila County to ensure that we can keep going as a board of supervisors, and your skills and talents and abilities. We are certainly blessed to have you, and your commitment to Gila County, even after being retired, is tremendous, and it shows in everything that you do. So thank you for all that you do for us. It is appreciated. And I don't acknowledge special people like Marion often enough, but thank you. I did want to point out that we'll be losing again Mr. Vela on March 28th. He's I think this is his second or third time that he's planning to retire from Gila County, and we appreciate him. He has been Public Works Director for the last several years, and appreciate him. Our work session next Tuesday is all Public Works. So think about where we're at with Public Works and all your questions, so that we can ensure that we have some seamless activity going forward in our roads and Public Works Department. Supervisor Chairman Christensen mentioned this morning that we need to make sure of where we're going in Public Works. So we're going to be having this discussion next week, and look forward to having that at least 2 hour discussion, because it's entirely set aside to Public Works and having a discussion of where we're at, or the roads or Public Works Department. So I look forward to that, Homer, and having that discussion. Finally, next Monday on the 24th, we have a meeting set up with the Executive Director for the Northeastern Arizona Local Workforce Development Board. That is where people that are helping federal money, that is helping those that don't have jobs, to help them become employable and be able to teach them how to go to a job interview, to make sure they've got suitable attire to go to a job interview, and to help people that need it the most. They have a portion of it where when a business closes down, I know that in Northeast Arizona, in Navajo County, that a paper mill shut down there, and this group worked to help them transition that. So it's an important part of Gila County to have the local workforce development board. Meeting with them, new executive director that was put in place within the last few months, and to try to ensure that we are getting the services, because it is a 3-county consortium of Gila, Navajo, and Apache counties. I want to make sure that we are getting the attention we deserve and need here in Gila County through that local workforce development board. That's a meeting on Monday. So, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're very welcome. Any more updates or thoughts?
No, I just second James on Homero and Marion. You guys are awesome. And Homer, we'll just kind of hang out for 6 months or a year, and we'll save your seat. How's that?
You better change your number.
It's been really a pleasure working with you, Homer. It really has. And Marion, I don't know what we'd do without you. You guys are just awesome. So thank you both very much.
Yes, and so I'll echo that as well. We have a lot of great people in Gila County. And if you want to come to work for Gila County out there, we post positions all the time on the website. So there are positions available. So if there is nothing else, then I will adjourn this meeting. Thank you.
Is that a rec-